2022 has flown by, a year where we had to adapt to a lot of things because it was a COVID to no COVID year. We changed how we work, and on the energy level, things looks not really great at the moment. So I think a lot of challenges for us as an industry and for us as a country. Today, I am talking to Lizelle van der Merwe, CEO, Financial Intermediary Association, and Butsi Tladi, President of the FIA. It's an absolute honor to talk to you this early in the year. So thank you very much for your time, Lizelle and Butsi.
It is an absolute pleasure to chat to you so early in the year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rianet, for the opportunity.
It's an absolute pleasure. So I'm going to keep it general, and you guys can decide who chats about what. First of all, I think to set the scene, please summarize the FIA's year for us, the good, the bad, and maybe add some of the interesting.
Yeah, maybe let me kick off. Look, it always is an interesting time. We live in interesting times overall. I mean, last year in many ways, I think was characterized by the geopolitical tensions, and I see those continuing into 2023, unfortunately. And obviously, there was always this backdrop of this ongoing pandemic and the various variants that arise from time to time. And I think all of that happens in a time when there's so much uncertainty as it relates to climate, to add to so many other things that are uncertain. So in many ways, that for me characterized the year that's passed. And then as we look into the new year, I always say to Lizelle that it's a time you cannot help but be positive. I heard you there with a bit of trepidation, but you know what? I think as humanity, the beginning of every year gives us that opportunity to rethink things, to decide how we best tackle some of these challenges that are part of who we are. So I guess we enter into this with some level of pandemic fatigueness, if I can call it that. Many of us share concerns as it relates to the economy, the rising interest rates, rising inflation, and a possible recession that could befall us into the next year. Yeah, so I think that's how I see the year that's been and the year that we're coming into.
Thanks, Butsi. Yeah, I think, Rianet, from an FIA perspective, I am more of an optimist. I have my moments like I had today with load shedding, but more of an optimist. I think overall the FIA actually had a really good year and has had for a few years in a row. So we're very sort of grateful for that, but also we touch base regularly with our members and with our team to, just to monitor sort of that we're on the right path. A highlight for us was that we launched our new brand, which enhances the professional image of the FIA and sort of brings to life our core values. So whilst the FIA has quite a rich history, the industry and our business, our organization has actually changed quite substantially. So we really thought, brand refresh would reposition who we are today and not who we were sort of 10 years ago. We also launched our new website to showcase the work of the FIA, not only to our members, but also to the industry at large. So if you visit our new website, you'll get a better understanding of what the FIA does. We also spent a lot of time in 2022, Butchi will testify to that, crafting a new strategy for the organization, which we are planning to take to members early this year. And I think what was really freshening for me coming out of that strategy was that regulation, whilst it has a bearing and an impact on the future of intermediaries, there are such bigger risks and challenges that we should be paying attention to. And regulation is actually the least of our problems right now, given everything else that we've spoken about. But really, the strategy really brings a different focus for the FIA. And I'll talk a little bit about that a bit later. I think on a positive, and it was really good for us, was the reduction in FSCA levies on intermediaries, which would be imposed in respect of the implementation of the Twin Peaks model, as well as the decision by the Financial Intelligence Centre to continue to exclude non-life insurance from the list of accountable institutions. And just those two lobbying effects of the FIA, Rianet and Butchi will tell you, has saved intermediaries, millions of rands. So those were very two sort of highlights for us last year. I think from a challenges perspective, I mean, you say bad, we prefer to position them as challenges because, you know, they exist. No matter which sort of stage of life we're at in our businesses or personally or professionally, we have challenges. And I think Butsi will talk a little bit about that, but we are concerned and remain concerned about the slow pace of transformation within our sector, particularly intermediaries, because of the type of specialization and skill that is required in the intermediary market. But Butsi, and with the leadership of the board, has been adamant that we will continue to play a very active and very constructive role in the FSTC. And, you know, we want to contribute constructively to solutions despite the challenges that we face there. We hosted a transformation webinar last year. We saw 300 members participate in that conversation. That's good for us. That's excellent to see that people want to join in the conversation. And also on the transformation front, we had a special project that we ran, Rianet, with some partners in industry, and that attracted 80 Black FSPs to the FIA. It gave them a voice, it gave them a platform. That's 280 key individuals and reps. And the feedback from those FSPs have been largely positive. So that for us, we want to continue into 2023 and really just strengthening the voice of intermediaries to bring in that diverse and, you know, just sort of strengthen the I want to say like almost, I would say the diversity within the FIA, because it really, you know, adds to our conversations with regulators. So Butsi, I don't know if there is anything
definitely
you want to add on that.
Yeah, definitely. So I think one of the themes that will certainly get stronger, certainly into the year that we started and into the future, is the theme of ESG. And in many ways, when one thinks about that global theme, and we as FIA are active members and participate globally in forums such as the World Federation of Insurance Intermediaries. And it is, I mean, that theme comes through all the time. But I guess for us as South Africa, the way we've embraced it, particularly in the FIA, is this aspect of the S, the social component thereof. And I guess there's growing concerns, as I said, not just in South Africa, but across the world. But the good thing about us as South Africans is that we have very vocal and passionate debates about what these things mean, and we tackle them head on, as opposed to what maybe most other people or other countries do. So that discussion will need to continue. If it was easy, we would have all solved for it. So it's not as easy as that, but it's things that we continue to think about, particularly not just for us as an organization. At an organizational level, by all means, we do that, but what it means for ordinary members of the FIA, and what does it mean for them to have businesses that are more inclusive, more diverse, and have greater equity within that. Because this notion of ensuring that the societal improvement is key to all of our success. And so those are some of the discussions that are happening in the organization, truly exciting things on that. Lizelle also touched a little bit about our strategy that we've just refreshed and are rolling out. And in there, it has some key strategic pillars that are really exciting for us and our members. And I get excited about it as a member as well, never mind the president of the organization, because it talks to issues about how do we ensure we ensure that there are sustainable businesses, they are professional, and there's ongoing development of individuals and members within that. So that is a key pillar of our strategy. And then I think Lizelle touched on the advocacy and representation and some of the successes that we've had within that. It takes a lot of effort, and I'm always in awe about the many people that are willing to put their hand up and contribute to finding the solutions that we need in order to move forward. So yeah, really exciting things that we need to build on for next year.
I hear positive stuff. It's exciting.
Yeah, look, Rianet, I think it would be remiss of us not to talk about the grid failure or the potential grid failure and sort of the energy crisis that you mentioned in your opening statement. And just to maybe put that into perspective, you know, members are very concerned with regards to this. We've seen, and I'm sure as you've heard probably from what's happening in the market, that reinsurers and insurers are imposing exclusions on policies which are impacting the client's ability to rely on insurance in the event of these types of well, in the event of power failures. And this is concerning for us because we've seen how members are panicking, clients are panicking, covers restricted, premiums are going up. So yes, this industry has a lot to deal with in 2023. And it's not just us that's going to solve it. I mean, Butchi, you know, we've said it requires a broader conversation with government and with industry stakeholders like FIA and other bodies to find solutions, because we can't continue like this.
No, definitely. In fact, if you speak to many of our members and many business leaders, some of the concerns that come through for going into this year, it's issues of operational risk. And in many ways that falls into those. Another one that keeps many of us awake is issues of cyber. And cyber security. So those are issues that we continue to grapple with and try and find solutions to in order to ensure that there's, I guess, better sustainability.
I think collaboration has never been as important as it is now. The time is over where we can try and do things on our own.
Definitely.
Private, public, people, companies, everyone needs to work together to find solutions, because the problems are there. The positive things are most certainly there, but the challenges, they are clear, and it impacts our industry very, very, very specific. The things that you've mentioned, Lizelle. So yeah, it's hectic.
You're right. I mean, when you look at, just to conclude on that point, you look of collaboration and that. I mean, in the FIA, I always say that we, as members that compete every single day in the marketplace, but we also realize that there's spaces for collaboration. What has been truly exciting, and I think Lizelle has led that very well, it is collaboration with other trade association, with government, with various other stakeholders to literally come together and find a way forward. And one of the key decisions that we made as FIA was that in all of our participation, we will do so constructively and seek solutions. I think that mindset in itself is one that I think is working well for us. Because if you go in, we can point out to all the problems, they're there and we know them. But it's about how we go about solutioning with others to find those solutions. Nobody's going to do this on their own. It has to be across sectors, it has to be across associations and so forth.
100% half full glass versus half empty glass, and we have to keep that spirit going. So my second question was around changes worth mentioning that you have made within the FIA. I have heard some amazing and fantastic changes and things that's happening on your side. Is there anything that you would like to add, Lizelle or Butchi?
I think, Butchi, do you want to kick off, or do you want me to?
I'll kick off and then you'll add. So, I mean, to support our strategy in itself, which we've refreshed and that, we've had to reorganize ourselves differently and strengthen ourselves in areas that matter. So I guess part of the challenge that we've had, and it's one that I think many people grapple with, there were just so many things that we wanted to achieve. And we had to make very tough decisions about what are the things that we're letting go and what are the things that we're keeping for now. And it was all about prioritization, but some really exciting things that are on the fore. Let me not steal the thunder of the CEO as she unpacks some of those.
No, gosh, no, not at all. No, look, I think we've mentioned, Rianet, that we had to undergo a strategic review. So any business that came out of COVID and thought that it was business like you've done in the past, I mean, it's just that in itself was not going to work for us. So we've spoken about the strategic review, but with that came an organizational restructure. So it wasn't just about the strategy. To Butchi's point, it was about the people that are going to drive this. How are you going to organize yourself? How are you going to structure yourself? How are we going to increase value for members? How are we going to do things smarter versus harder? Efficiencies had to be introduced into the system. So, you know, you look at matters of ESG, and thanks to Butchi, I watched one of the episodes of Born Lead. What was it? Sorry, Butchi, what was it? Born to Lead or Lead? It was about on environmental issues, and you can't just fly around the country anymore and drive around. And, you know, we have to find more efficient ways to communicate, to connect. So that was all sort of, you know, really part of our organizational restructure in actual fact last year, which has led into this year. It introduces flexibility for our staff, and as I said, most importantly, value for our members, which has been awesome. Butchi spoke about sort of two of our strategic pillars. The third is financial sector and market information, and you all know, Rianet, how bad our industry is when it comes to data. When you have key stakeholders contacting you to say, what, how many black brokers are there? How many customers do we serve? It's just appalling, because all other sectors know their industry like from the back of their hands. So 100%. There really is a lot of effort on our part to get that right. And there's two big projects that are happening there. And I think the most one probably for your audience, which would be really worth noting, is the market intelligence tool. It has been in development for the last 3 years. This project was actually initiated as a combined effort between the FIA and a UK company called the Data Company and LinkTank. And really what this is, it's a market-related data building tool that can be used by members and broader industry, which helps them do due diligence, helps them to do a due diligence on product providers before making recommendations to clients as to where to place their risks.
Nice.
Because a lot of our members will tell us, but we don't have access to that financial information. So this tool really assists them in making better informed decisions on when they make recommendations to clients. And also for insurers, it's a great tool because they can also compare themselves against their peers. So it really is an exciting tool, and we're hoping to go to market on it very soon. So that is really, yeah, exciting stuff for us.
True. And in times where there is a lot of scrutiny on cost, business costs in particular.
100%.
Everybody's trying to maximize any rand that they spend. So part of what we've truly tried to address and have addressed in our refresh is trying to give members tangible and measurable benefits. And I have no doubt that any member that looks at this, for every single rand that you spend in the FIA, it is very clear, not just at a conceptual level, but at a real rands and cents level, the value that one derives. For me, that was quite exciting in terms of the journey that we're on. And Lizelle mentioned that anybody that comes out of the pandemic and thinks that they haven't changed or can continue to do what they used to do will have a rude awakening at some point. We have been, as businesses, fundamentally disrupted, particularly as intermediaries. Yes, it's the value that we have had to demonstrate to our clients in times when the purses are so tight has forced our businesses themselves to evolve, and it's truly been exciting. So I guess, as we go into the future, some of the things that all of us are grappling with is how to find this balance in this mainly hybrid world that we work within. What does it mean, and how do we truly continue to be relevant in that and not fall behind? Yeah, so that's really exciting stuff happening.
Your answers leads me to a question that I feel has been answered, because I hear fantastic things changing and happening within the FIA. But the question is really, I am not a FIA member. Why should I join? So what is your offering? What does it mean to be a FIA member?
Yeah. So for us, for me, I'll take it personally, and then obviously we'll take it into even a higher strategic level. It is an organization that truly provides value to a member regardless of size, and that is very important in itself. Yeah. So whether you are a single proprietor working in a very small office, possibly in the dining room of your home, that type of thing, you are able to add value, to find value within this, be it at a training level, be it at a supporting your business level, and more importantly, you are part of something bigger. You are part of an organization of peers and colleagues that work collectively to ensure that there is continued improvement and sustainability of the profession that all of us have subscribed to. So there is that. But similarly, as a large player, those that happen to be in that space, it truly ensures, it gives a voice that is distinct from that of your organization. It is the role that such play. It magnifies even the impact that you have. It is not just one organization that's talking, but it is an industry as a whole. So all of that, I think, gives a lot of meaning. And you will find, obviously, on a lighter note, you will find great men and women that just in many ways that add value to one's life life and so forth. So it really is this is a great place to be. It gives a sense, it's an open, it gives a sense of ownership and a sense of belonging to many that may be so isolated, particularly in the world that we live in. Yeah, so it's truly a special place to be.
Can I comment on that, Rianet?
Sure, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, you know, hearing it from the horse's mouth is always always a good place to start. But I think from what I've seen in my experience is the industry has shifted from a place where you could just take for granted things would happen to a place where action is required.
Yeah.
And action requires mobilization by business. Business needs to step up. We are facing massive challenges in this country. And to think that intermediaries have a voice without there being a constructive contribution is ignorant. Okay, it takes a structure like the FIA. There are 20 full-time people recruited in this business to do what we do on behalf of intermediaries. And that doesn't even take into account the members that participate in the various structures who have to provide input and guidance to this organization to say, these are the potential areas that we are concerned about, we need clarity. So I think business really needs to take a step up and play its part and make a contribution. I think the benefit that I've seen, and Butchi has alluded to it, is the power of community. So you think being a large corporate, you know it all. You don't. You learn a lot from your peers. And in these structures where we have debates and where we unpack regulatory proposals, you see a lot of insight coming through, which has huge value for your business because you're exposed to a far bigger and wider and deeper conversation than just that of your own understanding. So I think for us, that sense of community, the networking, information sharing, guidance and support in business is a big component of it. And as Butchi said, the training element. And I think the other part is for regulators. You know, I think for regulators, they like to see an organized industry, an industry that they can come to and get constructive input. It's not practical for regulators to go to 1,800 businesses.
Individuals.
Because it's impossible. And it makes their job harder and it will make it more expensive.
Yeah.
So if we organize ourselves more efficiently to engage with our regulators in pockets of what we're representing, it would make our industry more cost effective, but also more effective in what we're doing overall. So I think, you know, that really probably sums it up. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that really sums it up. There are a list of benefits, and as Butchi says, some are more important to others, but influencing the outcome of your future as an intermediary is a big part of why businesses join the FIA.
Yeah, and I think a tiny part of that was the whole networking thing where we learn from each other in person, and I think we really appreciated that after COVID more than ever, how important that in-person conversations are. So what does your numbers look like? And my question actually is, what is the scope? Is there still a lot of people in the industry that needs to become members? What's the picture?
So, I think it starts by stating our ambition, unashamedly so, to be the largest and the biggest, and we would want every single intermediary to become a member of the FIA. That goes without saying. We're not yet there, but it is our ambition to certainly have the majority of intermediaries as members, if not all. Maybe Lizelle could talk to some of the exact numbers, but yeah, I'm bullish about what we can still achieve as an organization from a member perspective.
Yeah. So Rianet, on the numbers, I mean, you can see them for yourselves. There's more than 10,000 FSPs. A lot of those FSPs, you know, are also sort of in the funeral space. There's a lot of them that are in the sort of tied agent space. And then you've got sort of a component of those that are more in the independent space. So the FIA, I would say, has the strongest representation in the independent space, but there are conversations within the FIA to expand that, particularly within our strategy, to say we actually need to improve our value proposition for tied agents, because even though they're a tied agent, they do need the support from an intermediary organization being the core of their business, and not just to, I want to say take for granted, but maybe that sounds a bit too aggressive, but take for granted that your product supplier is looking after your business interests, because they really are looking after the interests of the product supply, which is what their core mandate is. So we are looking to expand our value proposition to be more favorable for tied agents. So that is definitely on the cards for this year.
And again, your answer leads me to the question, what lies ahead for the FIA in 2023 and beyond?
Sure, Butsi.
So yeah, I'll kick off. Look, what we need is, I think many people are focused on execution, and Lizelle mentioned the type of resources that we're putting behind the organization in order to execute on that. But I guess recovering from the pandemic and moving forward, what members require, among others, is it is a compelling story that continue to inspire them, and that in many ways we are putting our strategy and the refresh on the back of that. It will in itself tell that compelling story, and I think that we are also blessed to have many leaders in our organization that also continue to lead and give that type of inspiration. So yeah, so with that, for me, it is all about, we've defined what we want to do, we know where the North Star is, and we've got the band marching in terms of that one direction, and we're just looking for inspiration as we execute in terms of the plans that we have.
I am inspired.
And also
I'm
really
excited, and I didn't know anything that's going on there at the FIA. So I'm so happy that we had this chat. It's really incredible to hear what you guys are busy with in the background. So well done, and thank you for what you do for the industry. I think your role is more important and much bigger than anyone realizes. A last word to the FAnews audience, who is partly people that need to step up and belong to the FIA, and a reminder that it's obviously not only short-term or not only life, but everyone.
Yeah. Butsi, do you want to kick off, or? I think, yeah, look, Rianet, we've covered a lot of ground. I think for us, it really is a call to action. It's to say, guys, we are facing really, really uncertain times, and you know, the seas are rough. So we need more hands on deck, and we would appreciate the support. So if there are any of your audience who are interested in becoming an FIA member, they can absolutely reach out to us via our website. But for us, it's a call to action. And whether you're an insurer, whether you're a broker, whether you're an underwriting manager, whatever it is that you may be doing, get involved. Now is the time to get involved.
Anything from your side? No, I think Lizelle has given that call to action. It really is an inclusive, it really is an inclusive organization. We invite anybody to come along on this journey. It really is an exciting one. Thank you so much.
It was fantastic to have a chat with you guys. Thank you very much for the insights and for what you've shared. I think we need to share a little bit more about what you are doing as an organization. So let's take the chat offline. But all the best for the year ahead. And once again, thank you for what you do for our industry.
And you. Media plays a big part.
Thanks for the invitation. Great chatting to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.